And hello, Super Soul Sunday. I'm so thankful today. I am going to be talking to three amazing gentlemen. I call them my brothers as well. One in the United States and two in the United Kingdom. So today I am the United World. I'm sitting on a global platform and I'm excited. I'm smiling and laughing because live, when we go live, it's interesting to do live shows. Somebody's Westminster bell decided to ring when we were going live. So, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Let's start with the one who is far away from us. Michael, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael David Harrison. I'm so excited to be here. Again, Nana, thank you for the opportunity. I reside in Houston, Texas. I am an author, a songwriter, educator, administrator, yada, 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 yada. But to many who don't know me, just call me Michael. Born and raised in Norfolk, Virginia. And again, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. Right. The other person who I like to for him to introduce himself. I know that he's really, really known in the Ghanaian community, and he is well. Let me save my words. A-Klass, introduce yourself, please.
Thank you very much, Nana Chacha. And thank you very much for this opportunity. As you said, my name is Kobi A-Klass. I'm based in UK, a photographer, entrepreneur, and advisor to the young ones as well.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you, A-Klass. And then my other brother, who also goes by, he has Nana in his name. Nana,
Yes, yes,
Steven,
yes, yes.
introduce yourself.
So my name is Stephen Nyarko. I'm based in the UK, originally from Holland to the United Kingdom here that I'm based in right now. I'm a clinical research associate, so we do a lot of programs in health and studies. And Nana, thank you for hosting this program and inviting us to join this wonderful moment on this wonderful day. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to be on this platform this time. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And Michael, here in the UK and Europe, they're playing the UEFA Cup. So I want to find out from you, Nana and Kobe. Did you watch the England match?
Yes. I watched the England game after church. I came to home straight to watch the England game. It was
I hope
exciting
you. I
game.
hope you were concentrating at church. You weren't saying, "Oh, Pastor, hurry up and let's finish and let me go. I've got the game on." All right.
Luckily, we finished on time, so I was able to catch up. Yeah.
Fantastic. They did play well, and England won. Michael, you say soccer, we say football. So it's soccer time here in the UK
Oh,
and in
okay.
Europe. So they're playing. Thank you so much. So today we're going to talk about fatherhood and fathers who are making impact on us, and so two of you are fathers. Michael is yet to be a father. He and I have a long conversation yesterday. So by the end of the day, maybe we will take him to Ghana. And by the way, Harrison, I think you've got some traits to the Fanties. So we need to check on that as well. So, to all of you, I'm going to ask you growing up, wherever you grew up, how was life like? Let me start with A-Klass. A-Klass, as I said, he's really known in the Ghanaian community. And A-Klass, I want to use this opportunity to give you a big shout out to all that you do. If many of you don't know, A-Klass also happened to take most of my pictures. So all the beautiful pictures of me, my family, the Nana Checha show, all what Nana Checha does, all the pictures out there, I can say 90% is being shot by A-Klass, and most of the Ghanaian celebrities, presidents, and we should have put celebrity photographer on the flyer for you. He's doing amazing, and I want to use today publicly to say that I really, really appreciate you and thank you for all these years.
Thank you very much, Nana. And it was a blessing knowing you and seeing you as well. And as you said, growing up, I give thanks to God Almighty, to my lovely parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ofori to me, who at the moment they reside in the United States of America, to be precise, Ohio. And it was so good and great because comparing it to today is totally different. But our situation then was perfect and lovely. And for whatever I'm doing today, I give thanks to them. Because without their help and steps and guidance, maybe I might not be where I am. With all the praises and things that you're saying about me, being the celebrity photographers and weddings and events and stuff, friend. If not by their guidance and their thought and straight rules, I don't think I'll be where I am because most of my friends are nowhere to be found in the sun. So
So,
thank
so your parents were strict, and as we talking about fathers, getting into Father's Day, what was your relationship with like your father?
it was perfect. Perfect, but not perfect. Because if I say absolutely perfect, then that I mean too wrong. But it was good. Reason being that I quite remember in 1990 when we got to Dansuman, he used to have a printing press in Accra, Newtown. And as young as I was that time, I used to follow him to the printing press every Sunday. And it was really good and great. And when he started his project in a Fanco, I quite remember around that time, 1992, 93, 94, we used to go there and do the blocks ourselves. You see this old man mixing the sand with the cement and stuff. Then I'll be putting the pallets and stuff in it. So it was more or less like a brotherhood style. So I will say yes, I really enjoyed my time during those days. It was really good.
Fantastic. Thank you. We'll come back to you again. Nana, how about you? Growing up, I know you grew up, you were born in Ghana, but you grew up in Holland.
And
Tell me the
yeah.
experience of you growing up in Holland.
I went Holland very quite young age, so I was like about 6, 7 when I went to Holland, and everything was different from what I was playing back home in Ghana, where we're more social outside. Going to Holland at that age was more often indoors, wet new weather, everything was different, and being at that age as well, it was exciting experience because I didn't know my when I grew up, when I started noticing my parents were always in abroad, so I didn't actually know how it was, and those times you don't get a clear picture of where somebody is. So growing up in Holland from age of 7 to about age of 16, school in Holland, learned a completely different language in Holland. It was amazing. So I cemented the Dutch language, the Holland language, as my basis because that's where I
Mm.
actually grew up, start forming friends, proper friends, and as I was just about to go to college, yeah, my parents sent me back to Ghana.
To Ghana. How was your relationship with like your dad, even though they moved to Holland and you joined them, or when you got there, how was your relationship like with them?
When I was in Ghana, my dad used to come to Ghana very often, every 2 months at least. He was in Ghana to come see me, myself, and my sister who was in Ghana then. So we come to close with my contact with my dad most often. He comes in about 3 or 4 times in a year. So we went in Ghana for about 4 or 5 years, and during that time, there was a lot of contact with my parents, my dad especially. And bearing in mind that those times in Ghana there was not a, phone communication or
Mm.
you know, so it was very important that I grew up knowing that even though I've I've moved from Holland to Ghana, my dad was still making an impact for me to see. him that he's still there. We see him physically, not just on phone com center where you have to go around to the com center
Yeah.
those days. But
So
yeah, he comes in
so
person.
he made an effort coming down
Yes,
to see
yes,
you and bonding. That's
yes.
brilliant.
Mhm.
Okay, let's thank you so much, Nana. Michael, you told me your dad, you didn't see your dad growing up till you were about 25, but you had some men in your life. So tell me your upbringing with your mom and your uncles and granddads and the people who shaped you to become the man that you are.
Yeah, so basically, I grew up in a single parent household. My mom was the main,
Michael, could you speak
parental
up a little
figure,
bit for me,
but I
please?
did grow up with a lot of middle figures. Can you hear me?
Okay,
Hello?
speak up now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. So mainly, I did grow up in a single parent household. My mom, she was the main parental figure, but I did have a lot of strong black male figures in my upbringing, such as my grandfather, my uncles, neighbors, and then members of the church. So they really helped to mold me and to shape me and to guide me into the man I am today.
Yeah, Michael, you're also an author of a book. Tell us the name of your book. I don't want to say it. You say it.
So I did write a children's book entitled "God Made All Things Great," and it's based on the creation story, featuring two African American characters of color. You can find it on my website, www.michael, wrote it, WROTEIT. That's just a little selfless plug. But that's pretty much, and what I will say is that the men in my life always pushed me and inspired me to go further and to go higher. And so I think that this book is just an example of one of the many goals that I had set forth for myself.
Right. So I'm coming back to you, A-Klass, as we continue. There are a lot of boys around who don't have any male figures in their life. You happen to have your dad who, taught you, and by today, by the grace of God, you've become the man that you are today. What do you think is lacking in our community that is making the men, I don't want to use the word disappear, but not some men not really get involved in the life of their children?
One, thank you very much, Nana. One, I would say fear, the rules of the state, and also because of the rules of the state, some kids think that they have the upper hand. So that leads to the fear of the parent also disciplining the child. Because at the end of the day, if I touch the boy or discipline, even in the house, go to the naughty corner, it becomes another issue. So based on that, the parent, the man might also feel like, okay, fine. If the rules of the state is not helping me out, why not? It's better I save myself than put myself in a ditch. And I will throw this just back to 2011 when the Landy rat happened. I quite remember some of the words of around that time. He then said that discipline, most of the schools need to be handed back to the churches so that at least discipline can be restored, quote unquote. Not exactly as he said, but just paraphrasing it. So I think that with this basis of things and sharing running away from responsibility might also be a factor. But some guys might think that, oh, Charlie, my work is not good and I don't have enough money and then there's too much demanding. So if I balance myself out, Charlie, most of those things will be what reduced. So there's a little bit here, a little bit there. But and irresponsibility on part of the guys as well. So it boils down to make a whole package whereby you notice that there are most single parents out there, and some of them are not being even from the fault of the guy, but from the lady who chose to be a single parent. So these are some of the components that leads to most of those single parents and not having a meal factor in the house.
Okay. So, well, you say responsibility, so we'll come to the responsibility factor. Nana, what do you say, Stephen?
I would say, I would use my own personal experience for the based on this topic. I had my first born when I was still in school, when I was still in my second year at the university, and at that time I didn't know the person I was seeing, she was pregnant for me, so I did not know anything about that. Baby was born 2 weeks before I got to find out that this is what's happened. Now, what I said to the family involved is saying, if this is my child, then I will look after my own. And I think when everything was done, I realized that she was my child. I have looked after her since to 12 years. I mean, she's 12 now. What I'm trying to say is some men will fall in the same situation as I was in there, and they'll probably be too scared to take the responsibilities, and then they will abandon it. Say, no, I'm not ready. First of all, I'm not ready to be a dad, or I'm not ready to look after a child. I'm me myself. I'm being looked after, and it's about time. That's when you take an action and you got the responsibilities for it. You take hold of it as well. So we it for now I'll say many black communities are doing well in looking after their offsprings and being there, being the dad or being the parents of their children. But when boys do get into this kind of situation in the early stages, majority of them will be scared to own up to a situation that, yes, I had a child at the age of 12, I'm still looking after a child while she's still in school. And that might be a factor of, you know, a child might grow up saying, I don't know my dad, or my dad has not been in my life, because of maybe that kind of situation might happen or has happened in father's life.
Mm, right. Okay. So you took responsibility. So if you're a man out there and you did what you weren't supposed to do, and there is a result, there is a baby out there, and you don't want to, please do go look for your child. As Stephen is telling us, he took responsibility, and it's true. There's so many young fathers that, I mean, we mentor we mentor some ladies who have young men, teenage
Yeah,
men, or young adults as their baby daddy. So it's important that families we sit down and speak to our young men and our young ladies and say, you know what, this and that is what you've got to do if you don't want to have a baby now. Let's talk to Mike. So Michael, you in the States is the same, is it's everywhere. This fatherlessness is everywhere. And last week I did state that 24, they said 24% or more of black families don't have the fathers at home. We have a lot of black fathers in prisons or in incarceration and things like that. What is your take on it? What do you think can be done?
What do I think needs to be done?
Yeah.
Basically, I just think that, as black men, we got to step it up. We got to take, like you said, take responsibility, take ownership, even though there's no guidebook, there's no, manual on being a father or raising a kid. You just got to go and be present, be present in the child's life. As an educator, I see a whole lot of fatherless children every day. And I know for me, I've kind of assumed a father figure role in their lives because I'm consistent and I'm present every day. And I think that, just showing up and being involved, goes a long way. Having the conversation, hey, how did it go in school today? What'd you learn? Or what's going on? Or, what's the latest thing out, latest dance, or whatever the case may be. Just striking up a conversation for starters and just showing a vested interest in the child's life I think will at least get the process started.
Showing interest in our child's life. And I did mention last week also that, there are some fathers who are their presence is there, but they're not present. Kobi did mention about taking responsibilities and said there should be a shared with the church and Kobi. So are you saying that, let's start from the home. You are a parent, you are a father of 3 boys or 4? On
I
mute.
think I think he's on mute.
He's on mute. Okay. Let's
Father
yes.
of 3 boys, unless you
Father
want
of
to go
three
on.
boys, yet to have your girl. Okay. So tell me, boys, and some people say boys are very, they can be, very unbelievable at home. But tell me your day to day being present at home with your boys.
Okay, thank you. What we normally do is in the morning we do our devotion before they go to school. So we're checking them up after they wake up to make sure that everything is in place, their bag, their stuff, their uniform, alongside with the mom. And also we have one that normally get a lunch because he's just in the primary store. The others, they get their pocket money and go to school, just like we used to do is back home. And afterward, make sure that when they get to school, they give a call to alert that they are in school. And when they close, give a call to alert that they've closed and they get on the bus, especially with the other two. And when they come back, they need to just make sure after their lunch, make sure that if there's any homework, they do it and be part around if especially if there's something like mass and stuff here that they need assistance, get in there. If they don't, sometimes sneak through to check whether they're doing the homework and get some play out there. Once a while, we go out there to do some go to the park. I have to be honest, it's not often because of the nature of my work. Despite being a photographer, I'm also a super ambassador for Tap Tap Send. It's a mobile money way of sending money to Ghana and also being an entrepreneur as well. So it leaves me with some time, but I try as much as possible to make sure that all the time is being apportioned to take care of the boys alongside with the mom and make things go and work properly as well. So in the evening, make sure by 8 to 9 o'clock maximum, you get to bed. So that has been the factor through the line. But where I was talking about the society and the rules and stuff here and there, they spend, if you do the calculation very well, they spend about, let's say, 4 to 5 hours when they come back from school, max when they go to bed. So apart from a weekend, let's call it short, like a Saturday and a Sunday, if I'm around, then that adds up to my hours. But if I'm not around, so calculate it in 24 hours, you just see them for about 4 hours because they'll be going to bed. They spend about 8 hours in school, so or even 9, depending on maybe if the person is doing extra classes and the bar system. So if you're looking at that, we need to see our best. The society, let's like back in the days, golden days, whereby if you bring forth a child, it's not you're not the only one taking care of the child.
It's
The
a
society
village.
have a rule. So now here it's not a society, it's the state that sets the rules. So it leaves you with a little bit of things to do. Where you know that you're doing the right thing, they state to tell you, no, 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 it's wrong. And those are some of the small things that push out some parents, just as I said earlier, fear, run away from responsibilities, and trying to dodge and stuff here and there. But I'm really, really proud of Nana because I quite remember I did his wedding, and I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that day. And the letter and their child, his child that he had. So I'm really, really proud of him for standing up and facing it and raising that child up to this time.
Well, okay,
Thank you.
so it's amazing that I when I we decided to reach out to our guests for this panel. I didn't know that Kobe and Steven were connected till the flyers came out. So it's a good thing. Michael, you once upon a time was a principal of a school which had almost 1,000 people. how were some of the kids, and what did you see, especially in the young boys, behavior wise and family wise and stuff like that?
So I think the common trend for me is that I noticed with a lot of our students who were disruptive or had behavior issues was the absence of a father and their desire to either see their father, reconnect with their father, or have their father in their lives. And so that's one thing that really stood out when I would meet with the parents, meet with the mom and the child, and I started to kind of unveil and get to the root cause of the behavior. And so they were acting out for attention and, kind of wanting the presence of the dad. And so that was really, really interesting because 9 times out of 10, it was the underlying reason for why they were, doing what they were doing. And so I was able to kind of find mentors for them uh, within the school and also outside the community, college students, professionals in the community to kind of be that surrogate father for them, and that really made an impact on a lot of our young boys' lives. And the school was predominantly Hispanic and African American as well, so it was a
Hmm.
cross-cultural situation.
So you saw that, because I mean, all of us here. Well, for me, my dad brought me up. So I think last week when when I spoke, I said he was very strict, but he instilled a lot of values in me. That's why I have gotten to where I am today. Um, I want to ask this question about our fathers and what you've taken from your father and passing it on to your children. Stephen, what have you learned in your adulthood before we come to the other questions? Have you learned from your father that you would pass it on to your children, or you will pass it on to your children?
Yeah, no, no. My dad he's very caring about his kids. The connection when we were as kids is was concrete because he was always there with us. So from the basics, he is cemented that he had that concrete that we got to know him as the father of the house, first of all, as as the man of the house, and also to see that he's not just a father who gives strict rules, but it's also for us when we are in need. And these are what some things that I'm passing through my children. I am strict on them, but I'm very, like I'm their friends. I've got two girls, and I'm trying to stay in their life. I'm their best friend. I'm trying to be their best friend, especially the older one right now is 10, 12, and cement this idea. But I will always be there for her, no matter what. And I have shown that since she was born 12 years ago, even though me and her mom are not together, I have proven that I will always be there for you. So this idea of taking the responsibility at the early stage is something that I've learned from my dad, taking the responsibility from that early stage in our back mind, knowing that there is always a father at home for us, not only mom, my dad is also there. So this is something that I have learned from my dad to pass on. I don't know tomorrow, but for as much as my kids can remember, they've known that from the time they were born, I am there in their life, and then they can say I'm treating them both equally. They're from different parents, different moms, but I don't know segregation. Treat both of them equally. Listen to them, share everything equally among themselves, and that's something that I want them to know from this early stage until they grow up having this kind of concrete ideas in their mind. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Kobe, what about you? Now your father is in the United States, all many, many hours and hours away. How are you connected still? And what have you learned that you will pass it on to your three boys?
Thank you, Nana. Um, I've learned a lot. one of some of the things we need to respect: honesty, discipline, and be truthful and trustful in anything that you do. Because I quite remember growing up in Dansman with my old boy, and because he is a retired teacher, not just a retired teacher. He used to drive taxi. He used to do soap. He used to do printing, and farming as well. So he was more or less like all around. And I quite remember, because of his good ways, he was moved from Okofanochi Secondary School all the way to Liberia to head a school there. But one of
Wow.
those, yes. So looking at the way he used to do things and how discipline as a key thing. Now I always tell my boys, discipline is the key, and being honest and trustworthy is the key. That will take you to so many places. And with that kind of ingredient that I took from him, it has helped me a lot, because I quite remember being part of Tap Tap Scent as a super ambassador was just because of the way I exhibited myself to the group director, which was Nana Admako. And through a bit of hard work and support from my missus, we he offered us a job. That wasn't a dream to go to her for a job, but through that kind of discipline, if I've told her, and then I want this and that, maybe from the initial stage should have turned me down. But my dad always said that start from little. Never ask. When it's time, you get it. So I always tell the boys, never hard work always pays off. And no matter how it is, no matter how long it will delay, the results will definitely come. So that has been the thing. And until now, I always talk to my dad. If you hear me talking to my dad on the phone, you may think that he's my equal, like my age mate, because when I put something out there, he doesn't expect me to keep quiet. He expects me to, okay, so what's your view? He share his view, then I also share my view. And sometimes I say, Daddy, this side didn't get it right. This side, I think you didn't understand where I was coming from. I take my time to explain it to him. Because I quite remember when I was young, I thought the long you talk or you try to explain yourself, it let the person understand you. But one thing I understand from the process is that I might not understand you, Nana Chacha. It is my duty to explain it to you. It's not your duty to understand me. It's my duty to explain it to you. So he instilled those kind of discipline into us. And when I explain it to you and you decide not to understand it, I can't force you. But one day you get to understand the process. And that is the father we are. Because when we
Mm.
go through that's when the printed prayer system and stuff here and there, I never understood those things. But now, I never ask you know it. I can move about, going out there, doing my things here and there on my own, and by God's grace, with the fortress of some of the friends and stuff. But that kind of, I won't say military attitude, because I tried going to the military, but I left later on. But I don't say that kind of disciplined attitude instilled in me. It has brought me to this far, and not forgetting the
Definitely.
pattern.
Definitely, definitely. This discipline. As for that one, we know, we see. One of the things that I love about A-Klass is he has his bag no matter what time. He's always on time. He's the last person to leave. He helps, and even if it's midnight, he will still make sure everything is on point. So I think the whole Ghanaian community should do a special A-Klass party, and all of us will come for that. You are doing amazing, and I see that, and it's good. It's a good thing that our parents instill that discipline in us. And there are fathers and their parents. They a father but their parents, those who bring us up. So somebody can be a father but not be a parent because they disappear. So it's so important that we play that role and help our children to become the best that they are. Michael, your father is in your life. What is the relationship like?
It's developing. It's growing. He basically came 25 years. I met him when I turned, after I turned 25. And initially I was kind of hesitant because I was like, well, I don't really need them. What do I need them now for? I'm grown. But I kind of, as I was talking to his sister, my aunt, I was like reconsidering, and I didn't want to live life with any regrets of not ever having a chance or being stuck in my own ways that I didn't get a chance to meet him. And so, I went ahead and met him, and we've been developing. It's a relationship in progress, and it's
It's
a
a
good
relationship
relationship, I
in
would say.
progress. That is brilliant. So you have
Yes.
forgiven him, and that is brilliant. There's so many sons and fathers, mothers and daughters, parents at loggerheads because of what's happened. But then the good Lord says, when we forgive, great things happen to us. I got a question. Somebody is saying, Nana, my dad is. I'm not talking to my dad because he asked me to pay for him bringing me to Europe. So, my question is it right for our fathers to ask us to pay back the investment they've made in us? Let's start from Kobi. And we're not dwelling solely on it. So, brief answers would do. Kobi, what do you say?
Thank you. I would say I'm in the middle. Reason being that I don't know the circumstances in which the dad brought him or her to Europe, and two, how old is that person? So that might be another factor. So let's say, for instance, you are 30, you are 25, whatever age, that according to their own rules, after 18, but at the end of the day, you are still the child of your father. So in between, depending on the age of the person. But if the person is still under 18, I'm sorry, then that you are wrong. But if the child is, let's say, 30, and he's even married, and you went to bank to borrow loan, you went for loan to come to do the processing and stuff here and there, and if it is through you, your dad, that you came, it is not through the other man, you came and you paid, then that you need to look at it. But if it's through the other that you gave the money to, then
So are you saying that if he's over 30, he should pay back daddy the money that he used to help him to come up to live with him?
if it's through the daddy's invitation and processes and stuff that he came, then I'm sorry, that you can't collect money from your son. But if it is through the other bank loan and stuff, then I think, son, please understand the situation is different.
Okay, Stephen, what do you say to that?
Um, Nana, it's an interesting question, but I would say if the child is still under the parent, like what A-Klass was saying, if it's 30, that means it's not more a child, it's an adult that the parents has brought the person
Hmm.
over. But if the person is a child, then it falls under the responsibilities of the parent. So are you trying to tell me that if you eat fufu every day and you are eating rice and you are giving your child the rice, must your child also, you know, pay for the share of the rice that she or he has eaten? You are eating a good food and you are giving your child a good food to eat. You have traveled to a different experience of life and you feel like, hey, this life will be helpful for my own generation, my own children. You know, children were not asked or begged to come to this world by themselves. We make the children. So they come to this and they are our responsibilities until they leave the nest, until they go. You know, I see a lot of black communities having these issues, but then when I look at the white communities, I see a lot of family bonding. You can see a grandfather working with a grandchild, and he's probably looking after the grandchild, whereby the father itself is just doing his own thing. You know, they raise their children to get to certain standard. You know, they push them to certain standard, and from there they jump on. They don't expect you to
To
reach certain
pay.
standard and then say, okay, you've reached this standard, so give me something back. If you do that, you also delay the progress of the child's life. for instance, I had a child when I was in university. Imagine finish university and my parents says, "Give me my money back when we brought you down here. When am I gonna give this money back? And am I gonna look after my child? That means that child I've brought into this world is gonna fall short of my
Okay.
change that's supposed to go into her. Do you understand? But
Okay.
I'm supposed to look after my own to get to a step where that they can also jump, not looking back for them to come look after me or
So
pay me.
you were saying it's no. Don't the
I would
parents
say
should
it's
not.
no. I would
No.
say no.
Okay.
It's our
Michael,
responsibilities.
what would you say? This is somebody saying they well she's text but it says my dad paid for me to come to Europe and now they are demanding the money that they paid for me to come to Europe. Would you say it's a no? Would you say she should pay back?
I would want to know more context. Like I would want to know, prior to her coming, what was the agreement? Was the
Michael,
understanding
this
that
is your daughter. This is your son. What is the agreement? You have traveled over to
no?
let's
But
say
but
let's
what's the
say
understanding? No, what's the understanding? Am I saying, okay, I'm bringing you to Europe, and you're gonna pay me back, or is it just did I tell my child that I was just gonna bring them over and not expect anything in return, or I mean, I need to
So
know
so
what
my
how did it go down?
so Michael,
okay, so
supposing
let's
your
no
child is
hold on,
like
hold on, hold on.
supposing your child is
This is
like 10 years old.
hold on, Stephen, hold on. So this is a family who have relocated to Europe and they
Okay,
left their children back home in Africa or wherever they are from. And
okay,
because they wanted to find greener pastures, right? So they've come and settled and have gone back to bring their children into Europe to stay with them, to settle and have that good life. And now the father is insisting that they should pay all the money that they they invested in bringing them into Europe. And I'm asking, is it right or is it wrong? She's saying she's not paying. Is it right or is wrong? So father is not talking to her.
well, I mean, if I'm just gonna stick within those guidelines, I don't think the father should charge. That's just my opinion. I don't
Yeah.
think I just feel like, if the father knew that the child now then again, here's the other thing. If the child can afford to pay, then okay. But I think it should have been upfront in the beginning. Like there should have been an understanding that, okay, I'm gonna bring you over, but I need the money back before, because then that gave the child a decision to say, okay, I'm gonna come knowing I gotta pay him back, or no, I'm gonna stay where I'm at until I can afford them. Like I think the
Wow.
dad should have been more upfront in the beginning.
So okay, all right. So you
That's
think
my
that that
opinion.
should have been okay? Okay, that's your opinion. Thank you very much for that. So Michael is saying, that that should have been upfront. I'm bringing you, but you're going to pay me back when you start working.
So
Okay, Stephen, what do you want to say?
so I
Can
want to
I can I
I want to say to Michael,
Okay,
like,
hold on, Stephen.
can I
Hold on,
add to
Stephen.
that though?
Michael, yeah.
I
I,
Oh,
I
what
wanna say to
what did you
Michael,
say, Michael? What did you say?
No, I'm just saying, because if the child is an adult, then the parent needs to allow the child to make the decision if she wants to come or not. But he needs to let the child know the expectations. Now I can understand if he didn't put the expectations out in the beginning, and then all of a sudden sprung that on her, then that wouldn't be fair in my opinion.
Okay,
But
all
if
right,
he's put the expectations out in the beginning, then she could make a decision whether she was going to abide by that or not.
all right.
It's all about.
Okay, Stephen, what do you want to say?
I want to say add a little bit to what Michael was saying. I mean, it depends. If the child is at the age whereby they can make their own decision, whereby you agree with them saying, okay, hey, I'm bringing you to this place, but then you will pay me back whilst you find your feet. That's a different scenario. That's a different case. Rather than if a child is still a minor under the age of 10, you bring the person abroad and the person gets to 18, 19 and say, I brought you when you are 7 years, 8 years old, and therefore you need to pay me back for all that age. Then it's unacceptable. But then if the person, for instance, is already a teenager, 18, 19, that one you can reason with them saying, look, I want you to go to school down here. I want you to do this. I want you to bring you over. But then there can be agreement, because then you can reason with the person when that person has an adult mentality to reason. But you cannot
All
charge
right.
the child.
Okay. So now, now a parent is going to say, then I'm not, they are going to be living there in Africa. They don't, I'm not bringing them. I see A-Klass smiling and smiling. A-Klass, what do you want to say again?
You see, that's what I said from the beginning. It's a two-way affair. But for that person to write such a message, I'm having about 60% that that person might be in standing off either the threshold of the line or
Mhm.
already above. Reason being that if, let's say, as they all said, you need to tell the person first that if I bring you over, you're going to sort it back out. That is totally fine. There's nobody in Ghana. If you tell the person, if I bring you to UK, you're going to sort it, the person starts to say, oh, no, 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 I won't do it. They'll say, yes, I'll do it. When they come to Europe and they hear people talking, oh, my daddy said, then they try to form their own story. Oh, my daddy even charged me. For all you know, it was maybe a plane ticket that daddy went to bank to borrow the money. The circumstances is very, very important. Let's say, for instance, Steve, you and I, we are of age. Our parents are there, and we are in Ghana, and they want to bring us to UK. Will you pay for it? Or you let your dad pay for it? Or you pay your dad back again? This is where I see that question coming from. But if it is somebody who is a minor, I don't think that person will come and type there.
Okay, I got some comments. So Daniela is saying, so as parent, what are their responsibilities to their children? So what are our responsibilities? So, and that is one. So bear in mind that is one. And two, Angie Nana Owusu is also saying it's not a straightforward answer. There are lots of questions to be asked. If the parents are struggling and the child is living a high lifestyle, then the child should give the parents money, not necessarily paying back. Also, I think father could have asked in a nice way if the child is capable of giving the money back. So this is it. So it's interesting because as parents, somebody's also saying parents leave inheritance for their children's children. So this is it. As parents now, where is the guideline? We're even talking about father, we're not even, as fathers, what we're instilling in our children, we are giving them, we want them to get to a place, of course, when we are old, it's a blessing for our children to look after us. But for me, I would say for the father to actually tell you that pay back the money, I whether even it's a loan or to pay it back, it's a way. But when Nana is saying, in a even in a nice way, you can say, Kobi, it was hard, things were hard, but I brought you. But now that you're working, I think this is the loan that I got to. So help me pay back. In a way, I think as parents, we should take back what we investing in our kids. Then now our parents are also going to call us and say, hey, this is what I did for you. But it is our responsibility as parents to do the best for our children. What don't you think so? Michael, you can answer that for me.
Yeah, I think as parents, you want your children to live better and to do better and to be better. So I think it's very important for parents to instill that moral foundation where they can make good decisions, give them opportunities that they may not have had, um, and just give them exposure to things outside of their surroundings, to expand their horizon. You know, I think it's important for parents to expand the children's horizon and to dream big, to see bigger, and to do bigger.
Yes, for us to help our children to dream bigger, especially as we're talking to fathers. Another question somebody is sent to me, that the father doesn't want to be responsible because he is saving his money towards his building at back home in Ghana. A-Klass, what would you say? The father should use the money to invest in the children so that they have good quality education and life, or he's building back home.
It's a straightforward answer. Home first. You need to put in your home that you live is very important, not the structure out there. And just as Jesus Christ said, the temple is us, not the physical structure out there. So if you're not able to keep good care of your children or give them good education, build them up, straighten them so that they'll be more disciplined and stuff, and you leave them astray, then you take everything back home to build that building and stuff here and there. Sorry to say, one day, if that building goes down, bam, or there's a council regulation, bam, what happened? You'll be one of the people who never, sorry to say, it's better if you have not been alive because you've disappointed the family and brought everything down to zero. So I would say it's better you educate your children very and extremely well. From there, your legacy will continue. So on this rock, I'll build my church. I said to Peter. So just as that is, we need to build our children, and that's where they can carry on our legacy. And
So
as my dad once said, if you cannot add any positive to the name, don't take out. So a child will take something out of your name if you don't put positive in his name.
I like that. So the legacy, I think I did right. It says our children, let us be the pride and joy of our children. So sometimes it's not the houses, the cars, or what we leave for them, because some children even care less. You will build and it's either they sell the house and the cars, or so it's very important that we invest in it. Thank you. Nana says invest in your children and your children will invest back to you. Oh, that is brilliant. Stephen, what do you say?
Just the question that you just read, invest in your kids.
Yeah.
Now, when you do investment and you got into certain stage of the investment and you ask for a return, a premature return of investment, then you are not actually investing it properly.
Mm.
You understand? When you are investing into your children, be a full-time investment to your children. Be focused investing in your children. And sometimes you don't have to have the backlog of, let me do this and so that she or he is going to come do this for me. I have a genuine responsibility. Just like the first question is the questionnaire person that asked the question, what lies the responsibility of the parent? As soon as a parent you begins to demand certain paybacks from your children, you lose the credibility of your children asking you for anything, because they will know that even if I ask you this, you're gonna, as a parent, you're gonna come ask, get it back from me. I might as well ask a friend outside. So you lose a little bit credibility when you start asking your children to pay for certain things that you've done for them. Secondly, we should invest in our kids and not predetermine that this is what I'm doing, so I'm gonna get this back from them. That mindset, if we start having that mindset, when things doesn't go on for the parents, that's where they go straight to the kid. I have done this for you, so give me this back.
Wow.
But when the parent is also doing his or her responsibility, trust me, if you're doing your responsibility right, the kid will know when they grow up to a certain stage, they will know that my dad was the one that took me to law school or took me there, took me down there. I finished this, I finished that. And then they will definitely come back to you. But when
Wow.
you invest halfway through, and you expect them to pay you premature return on investment, if they can pay you, they will pay you. But the latter part of their day, you as a parent, your day, you might probably need them more. What if they look after you till you are 80 years, and then you are 80, you are in your bed and said, okay, I've looked after you for 20 years, from 60 to 80 years. Me too, I'm on retirement, so pay me back. How is the parent
Okay.
gonna pay? How is the parent gonna pay his son back? Maybe there's an overpayment somewhere. Said, I've overpaid you for you thing down there. Pay me back. How's the parent gonna react to that?
Wow. So, as parent, I've got like three more questions, but I want to we not deviate from the fatherhood thing. But it's good because it's something that it's happening, and it's causing a lot of rifts in families, people not talking to their fathers. And the one that I want to read is that my father has never been around. Like Michael's dad was just came into his life at 25. Now this guy is doing so well, and father has surfaced. I am your dad. I want to be part of your life. Do you take him in, or you say, I don't know you? Do you forgive him and build a relationship, or what? Michael, you have experience. You say you were hesitant, but now you're building gradually. So how would you answer this question?
I would say, first pray about it, and then you got to forgive. You can't live life bitter and upset and mad about the way things turned out. I always believe that things happen for your good, and it may be a reason why, or it may be beneficial that he wasn't involved in your life, because it could have turned you another way. It could have made you somebody different and not as successful as you have been, without him. And so I just think that, you got to forgive and at least entertain the idea of reconnecting. It may not work. It may work and it may not, but at least just give it a chance and see.
Give it a chance and see. I hope the wonderful person who's just asked this question. It says, pray about it and forgive. Pray about it and see. You never know. It's Give it a try. Your father is your father, but I know it's hard, and especially, and I want to give shout out to all the single mothers, taking on father's responsibility as well. It's not easy. And yes, there's some single fathers out there also raising amazing children. So shout out to both of you. But here, this person is asking whether to take his father in, as he walked out when he was born, and now he's very successful, and dad wants to be part of his life. Kobi, what do you want to say to that?
Um, thank you. Pray. That's the first thing I'll say. Pray, because the reason why I took that deep breath is it's not easy, and we sometimes I look at it from this angle. If you sit in an exams hall and a question is posed in front of you, and you forget to spell the word "it's," there you see how sweaty you become. You see how frustrating you become. So when the situation posed to such a person that the father flew or left or decided not to take the child, depending on the circumstances, because sometimes some mothers decide not to tell the father. So that is also there. So we need to look at it from what made or brought about the whole thing. So if it is on the other side of the dad, then all that I will say, the child or that person need to pray heavily for God's intervention, because it's just like a scar. You had a sore, the scar, the sore will go, but that scar will remain. So that person need to pray and pray very well if it's on the other side of the coin. But if it's on the other side of the coin, then I also just as the Bible says, if you're a Christian, you try and forgive as well, you pray over it, you commit your father into God's hands. Because if, as Michael said, if he was part of you, you might not know the situation where you might have ended up being. But because he wasn't there, mom didn't take it easy though. But at the end of the day, you've made it. So that's about the painful aspect is the person will surface and try to be, hey, I'm the father. You don't do know. If that one, I'll tell you, if that person comes with such approach, give him the red card and tell God, please, that is the approach he came with. If things settles, that is fine. But if not that, the father decides to run away from responsibility and thinking that some people can take care of, or he is not, or XYZ, pray and pray and pray. And don't be oversight that, oh, people are laughing at me that, where's my father and stuff? No, it's God that has brought you to that far. So we give thanks to God. That's what I can say on that.
Thank you. So pray, forgive, and so if you're a father out there and you bump into this a wonderful chat that we're having, and or you're watching this and you are not responsible in your children or your child's life, please do today. We know there's so many fathers, well, one way or the other, there those that mothers don't want to see, and we plead. Somebody was, I think somebody did text me, and you have no idea. Said, yes, I might not have the idea, but it's important that we allow the father into the child, unless maybe that father was abusive and things like that. But most of the time, some parents really want to get connected to their children, but the mother or whoever is not allowing. And we're doing a program next Saturday with Max Men, and I'll put the flyer out. And please get involved and register and come on the Zoom and share. While separation and divorce are affecting our children, that's why we're having all these gangs out there, because most of them are yearning for a father figure. I spoke to some young lads over the week, and my daughter as well, who is playing a role in a theater in July about gang crime. And some of them are saying, because you know when they come home, there's no father, or the parents are not there, so they don't have anything to do, so they go out and join gangs, and then they get some people, they go not intending to do bad things, and then they fall into bad company, hence joining gangs. And then, or they yearn to have some father figure, and so the drug lord, or start from sending them, giving them money and all that, and they feel like this is a good role model for me, hence now they become like an errand boy, then the gang, and then the next thing is they are stabbed or doing bad things. Our sons, our kings, our princes are dying on the streets, and we need to do something about that. um Stephen, what did I know you want to say something, so please do say something.
I just wanted to add a bit to what Mr. A-Klass is saying. I mean, he's absolutely right. His last point is that he was making. In circumstance like that, when a father has left home for whatever reason and comes back years later saying, "Hey, I'm your dad," it will be it will cause a lot of explanatory, explanations of what happened, what not, and the person, either the mother or the person that was involved in the child's life while the father was absent, is the one that all most of the apologies has to go to. And if the father has anything to say, that person deserves more than an explanation, unless that person wants to know the reason. Like you're saying, Nana, some women will prevent certain fathers to come close to their children. So if it's in that circumstances, then fine. The father got explanation yet to do about to the child, and it has to be honest from both parents. It has to be honest. What happened? What made my dad left, or what made one party left? You know, when they are honest about it, I think every child will find a solidarity in them to forgive if the honesty is, foretold. But if it's a reason whereby one just walked away out of, I mean, is capable of looking after, but just walked away, decided not to bother, and then come back later. That one's another matter as well. it's a it's a different it's a different matter of how you explain yourself. Why did you go, and then why are you back? That's another matter. So what A-Klass said, yeah, earlier. So I'm just seconding what he said earlier. But
Wow.
it's between your
Okay.
God.
I have another question from a this is from a young guy. I never see my dad being affectionate to my mom. And I think the three men out there should tell us whether it is wrong or right for an African parent to show affectionate, African father to show affectionate to the mom. Well, okay. So he stated African, so it means that African fathers are not affectionate. Okay, Michael, you're American, so but we're taking you to Ghana when we are all alive. Well, when as we can fly, we will take you. But how do you show up? You're not married, so I said we're going to get you a Ghanaian lady as well because you're Harris for those papers. But as a man, I know you how do you show affection? Let's say you live with your mom, so affectionate as a son. How do you show affection to your mother?
I think it's about listening to her needs and taking care of them. I'm a giver, so if there's something that she's needing, or I just take care of it and just do it for her, or send her the resources, send her the funds, to do it in a loving way. I think for me, that's kind of showing affection.
Okay, so listening and giving. Right, Stephen, you are an
Yeah,
African.
I can answer because I'm as an African myself, growing African homes. Um, I would say um our parents or the older it's quite hard for them to show appreciation sometimes. Sometimes they feel like it's a responsibility for you to do it. Even to say, please, can you do this for me? Or can you take something for me? They feel like you are their child. They can just say, get this for me.
No, no, hold on. I think the question is
Okay.
the father showing he doesn't see
So
my father showing affection to my mom. So how do we address that? Well, most people do show affection, but a lot of the African men or a lot of the
there are
Ghanaian fathers.
a lot of
So,
African men are rigid in showing affection. They are quite rigid. It's
so how do you show affection? Did you see your dad show affection to your mom? And how do you show affection to your wife? Or you're
I,
rigid?
I I I would say I didn't see a lot of my dad showing an affection to my mom. I mean, they love each other all right, but then I think my mom understood my dad more than I probably understand him. But I mean, growing up in this part of Western world, my I'm showing affection is different. You know, it's quite hard for an African man or woman to give his wife a kiss in front of the kids, saying, "Oh, thank you, darling," giving a peg or anything like that. No, that is just a no-go zone. you know, it's no-go zone. Or to even sometimes to compliment the women, saying, "Oh, my wife, you look amazing." You know, it's I don't know. I think it's hard for them to do that. You know, but I I
Do
think
you do it? Do you do it?
I do it. I do it. I
Okay.
do it because I feel like I picked up a lot of things from home where I didn't see things that was happening at home. to make my life the opposite way, to what I wasn't seeing, what I wasn't getting. I make sure that my kids are getting, make sure that my wife receives what probably I could have loved my mom to probably get from my dad. Like I said, my mom knows my dad more than I would do. I
Yeah.
do.
So
So maybe,
you do show.
yeah, but
You
then
do show.
when physically I look at it, I feel like, okay, my mom, maybe dad could have done this for my mom. Maybe my would be much, my mom would be much happier than what he did. So
Yeah.
me seeing that it's a platform for me to show that to my wife, what I could have seen my mom be more happier. I'm
Fantastic.
tr- I'm
I
trying,
see you're trying. I like that you're trying. And Nee says, speak out, bro. Nee, I hope you are an affectionate man. And somebody saying, not all African men are rigid. So, okay, no African men are. A-Klass, you're scratching your eyebrow. Why is that?
Oh, I wasn't scratching. I
Okay,
was just trying to take something off.
so what would you say to
All right. What I will say is that, I like the word that fellow wrote said, Africa fathers. We are not Western fathers, to be precise. We are African fathers, first generation, to be precise. And two, Africans have a way of appreciation. And if the Western people, quote unquote, those who were born here, don't adopt or accept or see it from that way, that they appreciating what their misses have done, that's also technically wrong. Because let's say, for instance, if I can take my dad for instance as an example, my dad goes to work, comes back. Sometimes we don't see him in the evening during Monday to Fridays because it's not because of traffic and stuff. He sometimes come back home late. But whatever money he gets, he give it to my mom. She'll take off the tithe. She'll take off every expenses. She'll take off everything. So if my dad don't put my mom in that kind of contest of showing that kind of thing, I don't think that I would have seen it and take example out of it. So I never saw my dad having his account or his project and my mom having her account and her project. It was one. So that's togetherness, and they have their way of doing it. So in the same way, I try to emulate it. As my brother said, the word rigid is 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 depend on the person.
okay,
Looking,
A-Klass, okay, we won't do it because I'm being
yeah, it
I'm
depends on the
censoring.
one looking at it. So I would say that African parents, some, most of them are not rigid, but it's maybe it's a language, the communication style in which the person might not be seeing it from that point. You must give me somebody a peg, give me somebody a hug, and those things. Sometimes it can be, sorry to say, it can be fake. Because I know a lot of guys and a lot of ladies out there who they do that in their house. And when they go out there, they do something different. So it is, I will say that it's because that person is not seeing the language that the father might be putting out there properly. That's why I see that maybe the father might not be appreciating things properly.
Okay, all right. So, A-Klass, can I ask you this question? I mean, you
Yes,
saw your dad bringing the money, and so are you an affectionate man?
I'll say yes because I don't have an account. It's my wife's account that she has an account. Whatever I
So
do,
you put all the
everything goes to
money.
her. So if you can ask Nana, it wasn't my account I gave to him. It was my wife account I gave to him. Anybody that work with. But I would say that I go out there, she's at
And
home.
make the money.
Yeah, so
Okay.
pay the money to her account so she knows that I came to work.
Okay, all right. My commander is saying cooking, flowers, bathing her, letting her do what she loves, giving her good vibes at night time. Okay, so commander is an affectionate man. He's putting it out there. I hear you. He's
That's really good as well.
all right. Thank you. You're loving the chat. Me, okay. You can type your contribution, and I'll read it out. I'll read it out, and we can communicate. Maybe next time we get you to come on board. So I hope some fathers, yes, they might not show the peg or things, but they are affectionate. Let's come back to what can we do? Kobi, you said you mentor young boys as well. Today we're talking about fatherhood. If you've joined, I'm talking to my wonderful brothers, Kobi A-Klass, Stephen Nyarko, and Michael David Harrison, who also joined us from the USA. In our generation, what do you think as men yourself, what do you think we can instill in the young upcoming boys to be the men that they ought to be? Well, especially those who don't have fathers at home. What can we tell them this evening if they're watching? Stephen.
I'll say it's um, we can encourage those, especially without um, pops in their lives, that if you have someone that can mentor you, someone that can lead you, someone that, it can be a spiritual leader, it can be a pastor, it can be somebody that you look up to. You can take that person to be your father, not a biological father, but you know but a father in a sense doesn't mean only somebody that's biological father anyway. Somebody that can mentor you, somebody that can lead you, somebody that can put you to a place, can advise you. So if you are young out there and you don't have no father figure in your life, today I'm saying there are a lot of people, there are a lot of like Michael himself, right? Michael's somebody that trains people up, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
So
Michael is yeah.
yeah, so there are a lot of foundations like that, that they can give you mentors, they can you know even sometimes help you more than a fatherly figure itself can help you when the father figure's around. For instance, we have fathers at home that cannot even do homework with their children. But if you have a straightforward mentor who can see what you see, it can be more of a father than your real father, even. So, yes,
Mm,
anyone can have a father, but then you don't want a father that is only in your life because it's an attachment that, oh, it's my father, but it does not contribute anything to your life. Either your upbringing or wherever you go is not happy, or not happy, but it doesn't necessarily contribute anything to it. You rather have somebody that can mentor you, can see what your strength is, and can push you to be a fatherly figure than just a tag of a father being in your life.
yes, fantastic. Thank you so much, Stephen. Yes, you don't want to just be a father and we point, this is my father. Or even some of the children, they hide when their father is, they're not proud. As I said, we ought to be the pride and joy of our children. So you don't want your children to be hiding when you're coming, and you just don't want to carry the father title. Be involved in your children's life. Yes, we've got to go out and work. Yes, you've got to pay the bills and all that. But as Kobe said earlier on, the most important thing, the legacy you can leave is, being in your child's life and instilling something great in them. Michael, who father's just coming to his life after when he was 25, but he's an author, influencer, he's into music, he does a lot, and he had role models who helped shaping him. So, Michael, what can you tell a young man out there and who is about to give up and say, I've had it. I would rather either kill myself or join the gang. What would you say to him?
Actually, that's what I was thinking. Don't quit. Don't give up. Like, hang in there. Like, there's going to be so many obstacles in life that we will endure and we will face, but it's not about giving up. It's about overcoming them and moving beyond that, because there's so much more to life than just, and I think that's what we need to instill in our kids, is just that stick it to itness, how to stick it to something and not allow obstacles and challenges to discourage us and to keep, knock us off of our goal. Because I think that also with kids, there's a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a destiny. And it's about finding your purpose, your life's purpose, and not allowing, obstacles and circumstances to uh, uh, distract you or derail you from fulfilling your life's purpose.
Don't give up and don't be derailed. So, if your father out there or you're a mentor, mentor, find a boy and mentor, could be your nephew or, and don't even forget the girls as well, and mentor somebody, and let us help shape the youth of this generation, because fathers are not there. It's the social media that is shaping our kids, and it's bad, but we can do something. So all of us have a duty, as one of my brothers said, that is the whole village, is the whole village. So don't say, I mean, back home, yes, if somebody's son was misbehaving, you can whip the child, but here you can't. Social services will be knocking on your door, but there is a way. My husband and myself, my daughter's friend, they come, because of the bond they see. So mentor somebody and find out, because most of the kids are going through so much. So find somebody and mentor. And if your father and you are not in your child's life, find a way. One man of God said you can even write a letter. If the mother is not allowing you, let them know that you care, because sometimes, because of what the children have been told, they think you don't love them, but you want to. So if you cannot see them physically, write them a letter. Find a way, to make it happen, and pray for your children as well. Kobi, what do you want to say to that?
Um, the question was as if
The
your child,
young men, yes.
good. But on the other side, there are some homes. The mom is there, the dad is there, the discipline rule is there. But that child, one way or the other, is going off track. The child is going off track. No signs or no major signs, let me put it that way, at home, no major signs at school. But there's a missing link, a triangle. So the school, the home, and in between
And the church.
the church, the society and stuff here and there. But in between, when the child leave the school to come back to the house, that's where sometimes it's a very tricky area. That some of the children pick up certain things. That's why it's always better. I'm not saying monitor your children, but at least let them know that when they close from school, their next stop is the house, and at least you know the time that they need to spend on the way. And discipline is very, very important, irrespective of any other thing else. Discipline, because most of the kids know that if you discipline me, you ask me to stand in the naughty corner or do this and stuff here and there, they start to talk, and that puts most parents off. And when you try to talk about it, then another thing sets in. I don't want to remember you, Nana, and myself, and the person I'm going to mention, our pain. Our dear sister Yvonne Lawson, Lawson,
Even lost it, yeah.
who lost the son so many years ago. A nice guy, a footballer. He was stopped. Not even he was the cause of it. He was just going to separate his friends fighting, and he was evading. And I can remember when we used to do every year to try to train kids and
Yeah.
advise them. There'll be the police, there'll be other people and stuff, advising them, even showing rare videos of situations and stuff to them. And the question still remains, why is it still on the rise? I think that the states need to look also one way or the other. There are laws in which is quote a bit overprotecting. I must say that because of instances that happened in the past, that's why they put those in there. But at least they need to put some factors in that. The child need to also know that, my friend, this is I need to report this. I need to report at home at this time. Do this at this time. That is where the loophole is, and some of the case are capitalizing on that. And when there's no further there, then become worse. So we all have a responsibility, as I earlier on said. Back home, the village have the biggest of responsibility than even you, the parents, because if they will see the child more often outside. And I quite remember One time when I was young, I went out there to fetch water. There's this woman who have been there to fetch water about 4 times, and we're still waiting there. She goes and come, goes and come. And I told her, no, ma'am, you can't be doing that because we've been here pumping the water for you, and you come and go. They'll end up telling us in the house that we come to the borehole side and play. So I tried to stand on and tell the auntie that is too much. And some of the people agreed with me, some didn't. So in one way or the other, we need to see our best. We need to put the children in that kind of basket and find certain things and see how best they can move away from those guns and those kind of groups and those kind of zone areas that happen in London, and somebody lost his life in Afrikuko restaurant and stuff like that. So it's very, very painful. If you're not out there seeing it with your eyes, you may think there's a storytelling. But that boy that died in Stratford is a sad instance. So many instances are going on here and there. And now the social media have taken over. I don't want to mention any of the media platform, but the social media are taking over. And you see them spending most of their time on it. And most of those things, they try to pick it on the mindset of the kids. And that is where it's very, very dangerous. Addictiveness to those kind of systems is very, really bad.
Fantastic. So, as parents, we should be mindful of how um, um, time our children are spending on their phone and on social media. And I have so many questions, but we'll have to round up. Maybe I have to call on the three of you again to for us to have another conversation. But it's been wonderful. So great having you all on here. I want to give you all a minute to for your final words and also where we can find you, Michael.
Again, thank you, Nana, for allowing me to be a part of this conversation and to meet some other brothers, Stephen and Kobi. I definitely enjoyed your perspectives. And happy Father's Day to you all in advance. And happy Father's Day to all the father figures out there as well, because you play an important role in the life of a child. Again, my name is Michael David Harrison. I'm on social media, Facebook, my name, Michael David Harrison, or Instagram at Michael Wrote It, MichaelWroteIt. And I look forward to connecting and even going to Ghana.
Yes, yes, yes.
Take me to Ghana.
Yes,
I'm
you
coming
have
to
you have
Ghana.
these two brothers to take you to Ghana. Yes. So, Michael, where can we find your book and your music as well?
The book is on my website, www.michaelwroteit.com, and then the music is on iTunes. It's called Pick You Back Up, featuring Beverly Crawford. I wrote it. I
Fantastic.
don't sing. I don't play. I don't sing. I just write music. So the
Fantastic.
song is on
Fantastic.
iTunes.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate your time. Even it's evening here, but I know it's afternoon at your end, and I'm thankful that you made it out of church to join us. Stephen, where can we find you and your final words?
Nana, I would say thank you very much for this opportunity to, meet these two gentlemen as well. For A-Klass, I already know him for a while. But Michael, nice meeting you, buddy. It's great having you on the show and then your opinions as well. It's great, great. Nana, thank you for inviting. And I would say, um, for every young father out there, I mean, there is still a mountain to climb, but don't give up because your seed is your seed. You need to germ. You need to make sure you water your seed for your seed to grow, for you to be able to harvest. So if you have a seed, if you are a bud, don't give up. No matter how hard the time is, your seed has to thrive through. Thank you.
Your seed have to thrive through. And Stephen is a clinical researcher. He's involved in finding out this COVID
Yes,
19.
yes,
And I told
yeah.
Stephen if we start talking about COVID, we will deviate from our
So
conversation. So I kept it. So
I'm,
I kept it. So you have to come and explain this COVID
yeah,
and this
I
vaccine to us.
I'm a project managing CROs. They're just clinical researchers for Johnson and Johnson. So my organization is one of the producers of the American vaccine, Johnson and Johnson vaccine, the one shot.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Right.
one shot vaccine. So yeah, we are working around the globe 24/7 to
Look at
yeah,
Michael. Michael is doing, yay, he's excited.
to make sure that
That's all
everyone
I
is
got.
safe in the
That's the
system.
vaccination.
Well,
Okay,
That's the
you're
vaccination I
coming
got.
back. I have to get you back for you to come and explain the vaccine to us. So
the vaccine.
those people who have not taken their shot, they will go and take the shot. Kobe,
No, no,
what? Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you. Really appreciate. Kobe, your final words and where we can find you.
Thank you, Nana Chacha, and also Michael and Steve. It has been lovely meeting you guys here, and with great ideas as well. I really appreciate being on the same platform with you guys. And what I will say is, we normally have this saying that your network is your net worth. And as Steve said, your seed, you need to make sure that you will take good care of it. And I will put it that way that your child, your children are your networking. That's where the networking starts from. So if your children are your network, if you invest more into it and properly more and over more, you end up what? Reaping the good seed and fruit that you want. It's not reaping as you expect them to pay you back, but you see the joy of your child climbing up the ladder up there. I wish to be 5 times higher than my dad, and I'm 100% sure that it will be his ultimate joy to see his child up there. I'm out of the seven, six boys, one girl. So at the end of the day, so if we all up there and dad is sitting down there or mom is sitting down there, it is their joy to see their children succeeding. So I will tell every child out there, please and please listen, be disciplined, obedient, honesty, trustworthy. At the end of the day, the God factor. With that, nothing, quad, a mountain, a hurdle will come your way because God will take you through all that.
Amen. Oh,
Amen.
it's a Sunday. And where can we find you, A-Class?
You can catch me on Facebook, A-Klass Photography, or A-Klass Photos on Instagram and Twitter. And you get there, you can get my contact number, of which I'm very, very active on my WhatsApp numbers. And we can do business, whether
Yes.
photography or projects or advice, anything. We are there for you.
Thank you so much, A-Class. As I said, all my pictures, all my photo shots, all my headshots, 90% of them is shot by A-Class. And I'm so honored that I got to come. It's amazing that anytime we speak, I say, you, one day I'll get you on the show. And this day is after so many years. And he wanted to dodge, but we got him. We got him to come. So you've really done well. And thank you for all that you do for all of us. And I don't know if Michael, maybe when you go to Ghana, then A-Class will come with you and then and do your photos because he's I mean he's the number one. He's definitely the A-Class in photography. So I'm honored for you to be I call him my official photographer. So thank you. And thank you to everyone who contributed. Angie, Kwekuni, Sandra, my own commander, Pastor Alfred, and Daniela, and everybody who joined and watched. I hope it's been a blessing and eye opening. And let's pray for our children. One thing that A-Class said, the God factor. God said to Abraham, He will bless him because He knows Abraham would teach his home the word of God. That is the number one. If we instill God's value in our children, even when they go astray, they will have that thing and still come back. Remember, as a father, to pray for your children, to pray for your son, and for sons and daughters, to pray for your father and mother, to pray for the people who are bringing us up, and let's pray for our community and the government, those who make the laws, because all of them in a whole also contribute. Pray for the nation that you are and pray for the youth in your nation. Thank you guys. I'm so thankful we had this conversation, and have a wonderful evening and a great afternoon, Michael. So we come up again. God bless you.
Bye bye, Nana. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Make sure you join next Sunday. It's going to be awesome. Another set of gentlemen. We're still talking about fathers, and it's Father's Day next Sunday. So make sure you write a wonderful note to your dad. If you want to join me right now at 8 p.m., I'm hopping onto IG Live. We're going to have another interesting conversation. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Nana Cheche Show, or if you're not following, follow me and I will follow back. Have a wonderful evening, a great week ahead, and always know that you belong at the top. God bless you. Bye bye.